Hi everyone, thanks for joining us. You're here with Tomaya and Akefet.
Hello,
Hey.
everyone.
And if this is the first video of us that you've watched, in the description below there is a link to a short video of us explaining who we are and what we do, and also links to our websites. And today we're gonna look at and explore what happens when we are having a good day, a wonderful day perhaps, and we're feeling good, and something happens, whether it's an interaction with other people in a physical location, in a house, whether it's family members, other family members, or friends or partner, or whether we call for a particular service on the phone and something there is off and that affects us. So we're going to explore what that is and why it affects us and what can we do to prevent it. So if you can relate to that, please stay on and watch the video.
Yes. So I'll start with saying it doesn't have to be, like you said, something, a long interaction. It could be even just one sentence a coworker says in the hallway, and we lose all our energy. All of a sudden, we feel drained. Okay. And usually that happens when we start mixing up with their energy. We start overthinking what they said and why did they say this. And we want to please them. We want them to like us. And it feels wrong. Something feels wrong. Something feels off. Maybe they criticized us. Maybe they judged us. Maybe they said something that seems innocent, but we felt that it's much more than that beneath the surface. So everything that we start over analyzing there, and everything that we lose ourselves trying to be with their energy. Do you want to extract and release all that?
Yes.
XNR, and so it is. And usually when we lose our energy, this is just a notice time to start paying attention where we're reacting and we're resisting something. There's a lot of resistance there. When we lose our energy, it means that we're fighting something internally. And maybe it's something that they said that we don't like, but we don't have to resist it. We could just be questioned there. We could look at it from above, see, okay, that's what they think. When we accept what they think, we say, okay, that's what they feel. When we're in acceptance there, it feels different. We don't lose our energy. We could just look at it and see, do I agree with it? Do I not agree with it? How do I feel with it? We could play with our thoughts and our feelings instead of just being drained. So everything that doesn't allow us to just play with everything that happens, everything that we resist what they do and say because we're afraid of what it means, and everything that brings up, we want to extract and release all that.
Yes.
XNR, and so it is.
I was going to use actually the exact same words you used, and it is to play. And often, if I'm calling someone and they say something about me, and obviously if they say, they say something about my appearance, and if they've never met me before and we're on the phone, obviously it's not going to affect me because it's in their head. Obviously they never saw me. But if they say something that someone has said to me in the past, or it's a sore spot for me, or I have perceived myself as that in the past, like that someone, for example, someone says, oh, you're not very technological, you're not technologically minded, you're very slow when it comes to learning new technology, which is true. And if someone says that to me, if I choose whether, and when I say it's true, when I compare myself to others, yeah, I might be a bit slower. But if I take on what they said, their truth as my truth, that's the minute, that's the second that I start reacting. But if I don't, and that means I've let it in. And if I actually leave, it's like this, it's an invisible line that's right here, and whatever they say, I stop it there and I decide, do I want to let that in or do I want that to bounce back? And if I have that control and awareness, then I can say, oh, well, they might think that, and that's okay. I can understand why they would think that, but I haven't let that in. So I don't need to react to it because it doesn't actually touch me. And to be able to be in that position, and obviously, even if you have moments where you have been like that and you know what I'm talking about because you've experienced it yourself, it doesn't necessarily happen to us in every interaction. And there are people that would trigger us more than others. And what I want us to clear today is everything that's preventing us from being aware of that moment, choosing to be more and more like that, and everything preventing us from creating more moments like that in our lives. Are you willing to extract and release?
Yes.
X and R, X and R, X and R, and so it is.
I'd like to elaborate on what you said, because I definitely agree with you. I think that the thing that makes a difference, because someone could say something about us and it won't really affect us, it's the judgment we have. Because if, for example, they talk about the technology or something like that, if we don't feel judgmental about it, if we don't give it any meaning, any significance, because there's lots of people who aren't, great at technology, it doesn't mean anything. Usually they're the people that are more artistic types. They're good at other things, which the technology people aren't as good at. Everyone has their own strengths. So when there's no judgment there, it just doesn't affect. It says, yeah, I know I'm not. It's okay. But when we judge ourselves there, like it means something, that's when we actually feel bad. So everything that brings up, we want to extract and release all that.
Yes.
X and R, X and R, X and R, and so it is. And what I want to say is that what's possible that when this kind of interaction happens and we lose our energy, we start just questioning, hey, wait, which judgments do I have here? And then this is an opportunity to clean something. It just shows us our sore spot. It just shows us a wound that wants healing. And we just use it for ourselves. We just got a spotlight on something that bothers us and we could clean it. We could heal it. So everything that doesn't see it like that, everything that resists what's happening, everything that we judge ourselves and we lose our energy and we feel guilty and we feel bad, do you want to extract and release all that?
Yes.
X and R, X and R, X and R, and so it is. And a metaphor that came up for me is that sometimes people actually judge on purpose because they feel bad, because this is their way of getting more strength. When someone in front of them is smaller, then they feel bigger. They're like the bigger person, and they do it by making the other person small. But first of all, we don't have to play with this. Okay, we could just see that this is what they need. This is their ego trip, and it's okay. We don't have to resist it and react to it and then feel bad about it. So first of all, everything that brings up, we want to destroy and not create all.
Yes.
X and R, X and R, X and R, and so it is. And the metaphor that came up for me is like mud. It's like they're throwing mud at us. Okay. But if we have like this a bubble around us, even when they throw the mud, it won't make us dirty. It's all okay.
Just
We're protected.
Yeah.
Yeah, it will just light off. Or if they throw mud and there's like this invisible water spray, it won't come to us. And we could have this. We could have it. We don't have to let it make us dirty. Okay, so everything that we get dirty from the mud they throw, instead of just letting them throw mud and it's falling near us, we could just move away from there, or we could just take a step back, or we could just put this protection when they're throwing it and we're okay. Do you want to extract and release all that?
Yes.
X and R, X and R, X and R, and so it is.
Thank you for that. I could really relate to what you shared with the judgments, whether that was if it was a judgment of that I had on myself, then obviously it was easier for me to get affected when it comes from someone else. I also wanted us to talk about situations where we have an expectation of how, like an afternoon, let's say a family event, is gonna develop, proceed. How the afternoon will look like, and then it doesn't end up being anything like we expected. And energetically, or things happen, or there's a conflict, or people fighting, or some people don't really want to be there, and we feel that we, out of the sense of wanting to be in control, we take on other people's stuff and try to be the peacemakers, or try to alter and change the energy of everybody in the room for it to fit our expectations. And it's wanting to be in control is something that many people could relate to. And that in this particular instance or example, the aim was it came from a good place, wanting to potentially for everybody to have a good time and create great memories. But what did that create within us? It created a sense of when there was no sense of alignment between what
Yeah,
we wanted.
it sounds very draining. If we're drained after we do this action, after we try to make peace, after we try to help everyone, we're drained, we're doing something wrong, because we're supposed to feel energized. That's something very strong to pay attention. What makes us feel more energized, have more energy, makes us fun. This is the place. This means we're in alignment, like you said. And whatever drains us and makes us tired, this means that there's something in us that we need to maybe change a little bit, so that everything will change. Because we could definitely help others. We can definitely help and be peacemakers, and it could feel really good. But also there's a point where sometimes it comes up to me, if we see that it's not helping, we really want to make peace with them and to help them, but they're so resisting. And if we continue giving all our effort there, we're just draining ourselves, because there's a point where they're right now not able to. Everyone is so mad, so with their own judgments and their own fixed point of views. This is not the right timing, maybe afterwards. But if we put all our energy, it's like going full gas on neutral, This is not, it just means say, hey, take a step back. This is not the right time. Do something good for you. And we could also, things even afterwards, we can help them. It doesn't have to be exactly at this moment. Sometimes people need to, first of all, calm down with themselves, afterthought, and then is the right timing. And it's just to find with ourselves when we're doing it, what feels good for us and when it feels not as good. And this is the best compass for us to know if we're doing the right thing for us at the right moment, and to save our energy. So everything that doesn't allow that, and everything that brings up, to want to extract and release all that.
Yes.
Xinar, and so it is.
And the idea, there's nothing wrong with, we have an event blend, and to sort of project onto that how we want it to look, how do we want to feel, and what it would be like. But then once it's actually happening, once it's actually happening, once we try to argue with the reality, with what's actually happening, that's what causes us pain. So everything preventing us from going with the flow more and accepting what is in that moment, as opposed to trying to fight that and trying to control the situation, in a disguise of wanting everybody's best interest at heart. And that causes us misery. Everything that brings up, are you willing to extract and release?
Yes.
XNR, and so it is. And how would it feel like? Sorry, yeah, you go.
No, you continue.
No, how would it feel like to actually be aware of that? Yep, you wanted to have a lovely afternoon, I'm just using the family gathering as an example, and everybody's chilled and having a nice time and great conversation and lots of laughs, and that's what we hope for. But if that doesn't happen, how can we then look at our part that we play and not take on other people's stuff and try to alter it, and just be the contribution that we are in that particular moment, and accept reality as it is. But again, have that boundary, be better with boundaries, to not allow that to sip through and not let that affect us. So everything preventing us from recognizing that moment and changing how we used to, our pattern of reacting in that instance. Would you like to extract and release it all?
Yes.
XNR, and so it is.
And I'd love to elaborate, because you said sometimes we're resisting reality. It's different than what we expected, what we wanted, what we planned, and we could resist it. Or the other thing, we could start questioning, okay, what presence are there here? And usually when there's contrast, when there's something we don't want that happens, a lot of clarity comes from it. There's a lot of presence there. And I'll elaborate in a minute, but everything that doesn't see the presence in everything that resists instead of allowing and questioning, which changes actually the energy of ourselves. It gives us more energy to question and to enjoy the presence instead of to resist everything. Do you want to extract and release all that?
Yes.
XNR, 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 and so it is. And I'll say, for example, that maybe this is the first time that the family member, whoever it was, actually expressed something that bothers them. And you know, there's a lot. Even if it made like a big contrast right now, and it like ruined the event, but we actually get more clarity on what's important for them. We actually learn something that we can make everyone have a much better time for real. No one faking. We actually can listen to what they're saying, and maybe they said it in a way that makes us feel bad. Maybe they said it in a way that's not very makes, you know, in the like violent communication. Yes. But if we listen to the message underneath, there's a lot of presence there, and we could have a lot of clarity, and we learn what we want more than ever. We learn how to communicate more effectively and better. We can learn so much from this. So everything that doesn't allow us to enjoy the presence, everything that is still stuck on resisting the reality and being like in a victim mode, do you want to extract and release all that?
Yes.
XNR, 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 and so it is.
There is such a big difference between holding space for another person's emotions or actually mixing with how they feel. And if it's through separation that we can actually hold space for someone more than associating with how they feel and taking on how they feel on board, because then again it muddies everything, as opposed to being able to take a step back and kind of go, okay, well, they just said something really hurtful to this aunt, and I'm trying to mediate, and I don't understand, why would they say that? You've got to ruin the afternoon for everybody. So, you know, and then I start feeling, oh yeah, maybe what they said, oh, there is something, yeah, they're really upset over something she did a couple of weeks ago. And instead of getting involved, what if I just hold space for how they're really hurt, and they thought this is a really good time to bring that up, and that surely that wasn't easy for them. And then I can be in a place of empathy because I've actually had better boundaries, and everything preventing us from seeing how that is possible for us. Are you willing to extract and release?
Definitely.
XNR, 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 and so it is.
We have to finish this video, but one thing before, I'd like to say about the empathy part. I love that you added it, but it doesn't have to be that the person decided that this is the right time. Sometimes people get to a place where they feel so powerless, and this is just their immediate reaction. They just can't anymore. And we could have also empathy towards that, to the fact that they just couldn't, this time they couldn't wait with it. They couldn't, this was the only timing they could do because they were like already exploded. And that's okay. You know, it happens to all of us. You know, nobody ever wants to on purpose scream at someone or react in such a way. We'd all love to be calm and find the perfect timing, but we're not perfect. We're humans. We go through things, and everything that brings up, and everything that we can't find space for others and for ourselves. All the places we don't have empathy for others and for ourselves. Do you want to extract and release all that?
Yes.
XNR, 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 and so it is.
Thank you for today.
Thank you very much. And if you have anything to comment, any requests, we'd love to read your comments below. If this video affected you and helped you, we'd love to hear stories of that. And if you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe. Bye.